Hey, what is up everybody, Reubin here. My name's Reubin and welcome to Space Engineers. Now, I've been thinking about starting this series for quite a while now because in my eyes, Space Engineers is quite simply the best sandbox game I have ever played. It takes the cake over so many sandbox games that are out there, quite simply because the limit to this game is two things. One is your computer. Two is your imagination. That's it. That is the only limit this game has. You want to build a space station, you want to build a spacecraft, you want to build something on a planet, dig straight through the center of the planet, you can do it. There is no limits to what this game can do. And I think the thing that has impressed me the most about not only this game but Keen Software House, the developers as well, is this game has been going for about 2-3 years now, if not longer. And every single Thursday, like clockwork, the developers have an update for this game. So they are always looking at improving. And the best thing amongst everything is that they are listening to what the community wants. So just to give you an idea of the game, on the main game over here, we're going to start up a new game. When you design your game over here, there are so many different places you can start. And an empty world, platforms, an entire star system, and there is no limit to the world either. It is randomly generated, and you can literally carry on for millions and millions and millions of light years from a predetermined point and just keep going forever. And for example, with this one, we've got an entire star system, 3 planets. You can go to any of them. There is not a single loading screen in this game, which gives you the idea of the scale. And then obviously there are 2 different ways you can play this game, creative and survival. You can play with your friends on Steam. It's a multiplayer game, which makes this game just so much more entertaining. But for what I'm going to be doing in this episode and what this whole series is about is showing off some of the best community creations, the best creations that some of the people in the community have come up with, the people that have got the imagination, the people that have got the vision to truly just design some of the most beautiful and out there designs from what I've ever seen. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the block limits, because I know some of these things are pretty big, and obviously we can go more into advanced about what you can create about the world, but I'm not really too interested in that because I'm simply going to be using an empty world just to show off some of these creations. Okay, empty world, and we'll go ahead and we'll start up the game. Now obviously the nice thing is from the workshop you can obviously got thousands of mods that just make this game so much better. There are a lot of pointless mods out there, but then there are some mods that take an amazing game and just make it 10,000 times better. Okay, so we're in the game now, and as you can see, the game is stunning. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. And right now, yes, we are just floating around in space. There is absolutely nothing here because I did start us off in an empty world for one specific reason. Now, before I go into some of the best community creations, I just wanted to give a short description of the game. Now, if we open up the blocks menu over here, you can see there are so many different tools that you can use to obviously create whatever the hell you want to. I mean, you can start off your base in a simple block and then just keep building from that point. Use the symmetry mode on the actual thing itself. So you can, for example, I don't know, build that on both sides at the same time. And like I said, there is no limit. And it's simply a case of smacking blocks together like this, different parts, thrusters, all of that, smacking all those parts together to make something truly, truly beautiful. Now, first one we're going to have a look at is Brynnilda. Now, all of the first creations I'm going to be having a look at is some of the vanilla creations, meaning there's not a single mod that is being used in the creation of this masterpiece. Okay, so as I was saying, Brynnilda was created by a Steam username of Nalnia. I don't know if I'm absolutely butchering that name. And this creation is a ship. So the first one we're going to have a look at is basically a ship, and it is 6,714 blocks that were used to create this beautiful piece of art. So I'm going to have a look at 3 things today. It's going to be a ship, a station, and then something special for the end, just to truly show how far outside the box you can go, and that you don't have to stick with either stations or ships, and that if your mind thinks of it, you can build it. As long as you know how to put those pieces together, there's no limit. So the first one we're looking at is Brynnilda. That's this beautiful, beautiful ship over here. So we can clearly see that it's got a couple of weapons on it, obviously for some self-defense. I love the overall, I don't know, I want to call it the, it's not the right, facade is not the right word. It's overall look, the lines on it, how clean it is. I mean, we've got these two beautiful loops that interlock one another over here. And all of this is actually glass. And as you can see, I think at some point we can actually go inside there. I'm not 100% sure if we can actually go in there. I'm not sure if it's actually part of the ship itself, because I'm experiencing this ship along with you guys. I haven't loaded it up previously. I haven't done anything. I've quite simply loaded it up for the first time so that I can truly experience the ship the same way you guys are. Now, as you can see inside here, I can recognize some of these parts. Here we've got some of the gyroscopes, obviously, that allows the ship to move. We've got a full conveyor system that connects, obviously, everything down and around through into the ship. And then we've also got 1 or 2 cargo containers here, along with a fuel storage container. So as you can see, the ship is truly beautiful. And if we have a look at the silhouette, that's the word I was looking for, the silhouette. From behind, it is clean. The lines are clean. I love the way the thrusters are placed, the way the thrusters are protected basically by these beautiful triangles, this diamond shape around them. And I mean, you could go around the ship for so long and just spot all the attention to detail that obviously makes something like this truly, truly beautiful. Now that sound you heard was the automated door that has just opened up here for me. And here we are. Welcome to Brynnilda. So here we are inside the cabin. We can actually close that off. And we've got 2 ways that we can go now. We can either go down or we can continue along this way. Now I'm going to continue along this way because the view that you get from here is absolutely stunning. You've got these beautiful angled glass panels looking out to a beautiful sky. I mean, that space is absolutely gorgeous. And the nice thing is, if you ever get bored of, for example, the skybox that is currently being used, there are mods out there that will change that. Change it to a dwarf planet, or change it to maybe like you're in the middle of a nebula or something. I mean, there are so many skyboxes out there. So as you can see here, we've got the inner workings of the entire ship. We've got, I think, one of the modules over there for either the refinery or for the assembler. I love the way he's placed this glass over here, basically just to separate the room, basically like a divider, just showing off what this game can obviously do. Now, as you can see in some areas where there isn't that much light, it is going to go a little bit darker, but it creates this overall ambiance. And obviously, if I want to, I can turn on my suit's headlights. Well, headlights, flashlights, basically. So we get through to this section, and it basically makes you think of a throne room. We've got these beautiful spires on either side, and we've got basically a throne here where we can just sit and just look around and just look down at all our subjects that come into our our ship over here. So now we can go this way. Now I think this leads... No, it doesn't. I actually thought this would lead to that loop that goes underneath, but I was incorrect. Now, these modules over here are basically the pieces that pump oxygen into your ship, but for some unknown reason, it's yellow. Now, yellow means that there is some breach. Somewhere it is not closed off properly, and somewhere it is still space, and it's not made a complete seal in there somewhere. Now, I've got no idea where that would be. Obviously, the creator of this beautiful piece of artwork would have to have a look at something like that. But let's make our way through this way. So we're going to go a little bit into the back of the ship, and as you can see in here, we've got 1 or 2 cryopods that obviously, if need be, we can sit inside these cryopods for those long journeys into the deep parts of space. We've got a medical bay on top here. Now, this is where you either heal yourself, change out your color of your suit, or if you've downloaded some of the mods, change your suit completely. This leads into the back over here, and obviously this also once again allows connects us to an air vent, and then also we've got a cargo container on the floor, nice and neatly stacked away so that it's not obstructing anything on the floor, and then obviously the piping that connects this entire ship, obviously going down into the floor that way. Now we can go 1 or 2 ways. We can either go down this way, but I do believe that just wraps around back that way, but I do want to start off by going up this way first. Now down this way, it looks like we've just got some kind of corridor over here. I'm not 100% sure where that's going. Doesn't look like it's actually going anywhere. I think it's just for aesthetic appeal, basically. And then up this way, it looks like we have got 2 beds. Now, as I said, this is a vanilla creation, so it doesn't actually have beds in it, but there are mods out there that allows you to add furnishings into these ships. And the nice thing is some of these mods are absolutely stunning, and some of the people that work on these mods are constantly keeping it up to date, making sure that they are polished, making sure that they are optimized correctly for this game. I mean, the community for this game and the mods for this game is absolutely amazing. Okay, there's basically just two ways down to the exact same area. As you can see, the intricate workings of the ship, we've got our piping connecting everything, and then our massive reactor powering it all. Now that is a very key component that you want in the center of your ship to basically try and protect it from as much as you can, because if you're playing online or you're playing on one of the online servers and somebody shoots at that is your ship dead in the water if that gets taken out. Now it looks like down this way we've got all the essentials basically. Over here we've got our storage containers, we've got our assemblers, we've got our refineries, we've got all the parts that we need to both not only make but also refine materials and grind down the ore that we get that we find on asteroids or planets. And then we've got a cockpit over here. I've got no idea what that cockpit is for, and I'm not going to fuck around to see what it does. But these blue blocks that you are seeing on the floor, there's one over there, and there are two, if I'm not mistaken, over here. Yes, there's two of them. These are warp drives. So yes, you do have warp drives, meaning you can jump long distances if you need to get somewhere in a hurry, or you are trying to escape a very volatile situation. You can do that. And I mean, the potential for this game is endless. It's fun on your own, but it's 10 times better if you're playing with a couple of friends, truly doing a survival series. Now I want to go back up because obviously I do want to go to the cockpit. I do want to get to the point where everything is controlled and where everything is flown. And that is from this beautiful, stunning little room over here. Now, as you can see, it's got quite a bit of natural light. You've got a lot of view around you, to your right, to your left. You can look a little bit above you, but this is not a fighter, so you aren't going to be wanting to maneuver it like a fighter. This is mainly for exploration, I am guessing, based on the internals, based on the amount of weaponry it's got on the outside, and how much space it's got for crew. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the ship over here. Now, as you can see, if I move it, my mouse around, you can see that the ship moves as well. Now, for the ship of this size to move around that easily, this creator has put a shitload of gyroscopes in the inner workings of the ship to allow it to be so nimble, because your bigger ships normally have a problem with being nimble, as they are quite heavy and quite big, and you need quite a lot of gyroscopes to obviously counter that weight. But what I am going to do is I'm going to switch to the outside view just so that we can see once again how absolutely stunning the ship is. I've turned off the signals over there just so that we can get a better view of the ship without it being obscured by any writing. And I think it's those two rings that make the ship just awesome. And obviously, if we also zoom in and we start moving forward, you'll see the thrusters go off, and you'll also hear a very, very awesome sound. And these sounds never used to be part of it. And once again, it comes down to how much the developers have done on this game. So as you can see, the thrusters are busy firing, but it doesn't actually look like we are moving. And that's quite simply because we've got nothing to basically visually show movement. We're in the middle of space. Those things out there in the distance are miles away. We are never going to see movement against them. But if you do see, for example, we've got one or two of these little asteroids that we are coming past, and we are traveling at 100 meters a second. Now I've turned off the inertial dampeners, so that means we are going to be traveling at this speed constantly forever without using any bit of fuel. That's the nice thing about space. Once you're in motion, you need a external force to actually change or slow its trajectory, meaning you obviously need thrusters facing forward to try and slow it down. Otherwise, you're never going to slow down. There's nothing like friction or wind resistant in space. Or if you crash into an asteroid or a planet, that obviously might slow you down as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch that off. We're going to slow the ship down. I'm going to bring up the tab over here, and I'm specifically looking for one of those warp drives. It actually looks like we have got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 warp drives in the ship. So it means we can cover quite a distance. So for example, if we press 1, it's going to tell us now that the jump destination is blind, meaning we aren't jumping anywhere specific. However, if you have coordinates set somewhere, you will be able to jump back to those coordinates. So distance of the proximity of coordinate, we're going to be jumping roughly about 3,734 kilometers. We're jumping a total mass of 9.3 million kilograms. 100% of the ship is going to jump, so we're not going to be leaving anything behind. Everything is operational, and there's only one crew member on board, myself. So we'll go in, we'll have a look, we'll see this beautiful thing pop up in front of us. And there we go, we've jumped. Now obviously once again there's nothing to reference how far we've actually jumped. If there was a planet, you would clearly see that you are a shitload further from that planet, but we just jumped 3,700 kilometers with that one jump. So overall, I'm going to be honest, I like this ship. It's way above anything I would ever personally be able to make. I think that's why I started this series, because everybody has got their own idea of what a ship should look like, and obviously each person is going to design the ship as to how they want it, but not everybody's ideas and plans come together or are the same. So having a look at creations like this is always nice, to see what the community is doing, to see if they've one-upped you, or if you possibly need to pull up your socks and see if you can't beat them, or if they've created something possibly that suits your needs, suits what you need to do with the ship itself. So I'm trying to find my way back out of this ship, but it looks like I'm having problems. And I think it's actually this way. I think I'm just being an idiot. Yes, here it is here. It's opened up and we are back outside this beautiful ship. Okay, so we've loaded up the next one, and the next one is the AOE Argus Spaceport. So the previous one we had a look at was an actual ship. This one does move. Obviously it's not its intended purpose, but you can move it around if you need to. But it is the Argus Spaceport, and once again it's vanilla, meaning there is no mods in this game whatsoever. The creator of this mod is K_Medlock, that's his Steam username, and this creation is 11,363 blocks. So as you can see, things are getting a little bit bigger, but what I love about this game so much is this person has literally gone ahead and made an entire spaceport. Now from the distance you can already see there are quite a couple of connection points. There are fuel cells to our left that obviously houses all the fuel that different ships would need to come and go from this place. We've got quite a couple of landing pads. If I'm not mistaken, there's 4, 8, 12, 16 landing pads. And apart from those landing pads, we've got these connector ports over here. So if you aren't here to stop for long, you just want to drop off a couple of things, you back your connection port into this port over here, you dock with the station, and you drop off what you need to. So I've turned off my jetpack. As you can see, I'm just busy running around on the surface now using the artificial gravity that the creator has obviously put inside this beautiful station somewhere. And we are actually going to go into the ship and have a look. So as you can see, this one won't open until those back ones are closed. Now that it's closed, it brings us to this section over here. Now if we head down this way, this is obviously just taking us to some of the other landing pads and taking us through to the end section. And once again, that is just another way out into space. And I did not want to be caught in there. So we're actually going to head down this way and go into the actual inner workings of the ship. So as you can see, this is a central tunnel that basically connects all of the landing pads to one another, so that the people who are dropping off their ships can come through a double airlock, come through into the station and enjoy its luxuries while, I don't know, they're dropping off their cargo, they're busy refueling, they can maybe get some rest inside. Yeah, I don't know. We'll obviously have a look as we continue through the ship. So we've actually made it, I'm guessing, through that section over there now. So we'll open this up and we are greeted with a nice little sign over here that tells us where, that tells us where everything is. So the Terminal 2 is straight ahead, the medical bay is to our left, Terminal 1, cryogenics, and the Gus Galaxy Bar and Grill is to our right. The landing pads 13 to 16 are behind us, as well as Dock D. So as you can see, this creator, the mastermind behind this creation, has given you nice and clear directions to where everything is. So you know what, I think we'll start off with the med bay. We're going to go down this one, we're going to have a look. Now this, if I'm not mistaken, will just lead into another room. Once again, it's vanilla, so there are no actual beds, but you can download the mods for a bed and install them over here just to give that room a more furnished feel, if you want to go that way. But I'm taking this as an international space station, if you want to call it that. So obviously it's not designed for luxury, it's designed for practicality and function. So we've got rooms 15 and 16 to either one of our sides. Once again, that's just a repeat of one of the previous places we saw. This room, however, does look a little bit bigger and does offer a bit of a view of one of the landing pads and then a bit of space itself. So we'll continue down this corridor and you can see now we've got the medical bay over here. Once again, if you need to heal yourself, change your suit, or if you just quite simply want to change the color of your suit, that is done over here. We've also got a cryopod over here in case maybe somebody has been hurt seriously, or somebody has stepped away, or somebody needs to go into hypersleep for one of the long journeys, or possibly a prisoner. Put them into hypersleep, keep them over there. And then this leads us into this passage over here. Now you can see the inner workings a lot better over here. These are the gyroscopes that obviously allow the ship a bit of movement. I don't think it's the most maneuverable thing in the world because it is a station at the end of the day. We've got quite a few cargo containers to our right and to our left, and those sounds that you are hearing is the refinery and the assembler, possibly either above or below us. I'm not exactly 100% sure where they are situated. But it's always nice to have those on board because it allows obviously for yourself to be able to repair things, craft things, make things while on the fly without having to go back to another base to get the components that you need. And then this leads down to the cryogenic section. Now, obviously, as you can see, if the station is going on a long journey, because obviously it is slow, it's not designed to be moving fast like a ship, then obviously the crew and all the people on board can obviously go into a cryo sleep and wait for them to be woken up by, I'm guessing, the computers. Obviously, I'm just rambling now because, well, that's what I'm guessing the cryopods are for. Now we've got a nice little display over here saying that all the cryo chambers are on, and we've also got a control seat over there. Now earlier on I was mentioning the gravitational generator. Yeah, we've got it here above us. Obviously it is in negative, forcing the gravity down. That is what is allowing us to walk. And then it looks like, I think this is supposed to be the Gus Galaxy Bar and Grill is ahead of us. But once again, you've got one or two nice windows over here, just looking out at some of those beautiful things out there. And let's move on to the next room. So obviously to get to the bar, we have to go past all the reactors. Now this looks like this design has gone for a lot of small reactors instead of the main large reactor that we saw on the previous ship. And the nice thing on this ship is we have got these floating markers basically telling us how our ship is doing, how much cargo we've got on board, how much of each material we've got, and that is done relatively easily. There are tutorials on YouTube explaining how you set up those screens with one or two blueprints or one or two commands that have to be done in the programmable block. Yes, if you want to do something yourself that you possibly think that the developers didn't think of, they've installed a programmable block where you can yourself program certain items to do certain things. Now obviously I'm just going to smack this here in the center of the room so you can see what it looks like, but this is in short the programmable block. Obviously I will be deleting it because I don't want to ruin this person's awesome design, and you just simply click on that and you program it how you need it. So I, however, am going to delete it. So let's move on further. Okay, we are finally through to the pub and grill. Now would you look at that? I love the way the creator has put down the lights on the table, has put down what are actually supposed to be speakers as plates, and he has done something very unique. Just trying to have a look under there. I'm not sure if he's used, I think I think that's actually part of a blast door that he's gone and created the tables from. But obviously this is using just the base blocks that are in the game, that come with the game. All of this can be swapped out for proper furnishings, proper plates, proper tables, proper, well, the lighting in this game is actually pretty good, that I won't lie about. And then once again, it's telling us our menu over here. We've got space ribs and fries, intergalactic salad, verge soup, we've got galactic ale, interstellar wine, and space frizz. That sounds so wrong, but I won't judge it. So now obviously I need to find my way out of here first. We'll use one of these doors. We can't open it until that door has been closed. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, these are one of the platforms. Now we've obviously got more than one corridor that leads down to multiple platforms. We've got some defense with the turrets over here. Obviously, you are a floating station. You want to make sure that you are protected and that if somebody tries to be funny, you can deal with their shit. And over here we have got, I'm guessing, where they store all the fuel. It's a very, very clever system. That way, if anything's ever going to explode, you could rupture these blocks over here nice and easily and just send that floating off into space so that if it does detonate, it doesn't destroy your entire base. So very, very clever, and I like the way he has stacked it. Obviously, we've got our disc on the top here. We've got our beacon, so that obviously at a distance, you'll be able to find this base relatively easy, as you can see with all the markers we've got on our screen at the moment. And there the markers have got obviously all of their markings. So you can clearly see once you're flying into the station, you possibly got this in a open survival world and somebody wants to come in and use your facilities possibly for some fuel or for something else. They can clearly see where their designated landing pads are, and you as the controller could possibly tell them, listen, yeah, whatever your name is, land on landing pad 14, wait for us to come to you, don't get out of your ship until you are escorted into the base. Whatever, you guys can play out your own scenarios. That's the nice thing about this. And then in the front of the ship is obviously just where all the inner workings are. But the nice thing is he's also got a lot of connection points on the outside. So if you don't want to land the ship, or your ship's too big to possibly land over there, you could take up all 3 of these spots with your massive beast and park in your ship over here, connect to one of those connectors and get the resources that you require. Now what I like over here is we've also got a couple of oxygen generators. These are basically for, well, it creates the oxygen, because there's 2 ways you get oxygen in this game. One is from ice. Obviously you extract oxygen from the water, hydrogen and oxygen. You extract the oxygen from the water in the ice, and then obviously it pumps it through the station. But for that you need a constant supply of ice. This, however, is basically like I forgot the word now for it, a green room, but it pumps oxygen. Oh, the word has completely left my mind. But this will, in a very slow pace, generate oxygen that you can store in oxygen tanks. So that is the Argus spaceport, the AOE Argus spaceport. Beautiful design, something very practical, something that can be used amongst either on your own or with a couple of friends, or if you're playing on an online server. Your blueprint is obviously always going to be on the computer, so you could build it from scratch yourself if you truly wanted to. That would take forever, but you would at least get it done. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a look at a spaceship. We have had a look at a space station. Now those are obviously 2 things that in a game surrounding space you would expect to be there. But like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the possibilities are endless. And to truly show you how endless those possibilities are, the next design is the last thing that you would expect to find in space. And yes, above all things that have possibly been created, the time and the effort and the attention to detail is amazing. Because it's the Notre Dame. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Notre Dame. Now obviously there are going to be 1 or 2 inaccuracies. Obviously there's only so much that you can do with the blocks that are given to you, but the likeness of this design is ridiculous. I mean, if you go over through to the side over here and you have a look, the buttresses that you find on the Notre Dame, the archways, the pillars, the height, the overall silhouette is the Notre Dame in a nutshell, and it is gorgeous. I mean, if we have a look at the back of the Notre Dame here, I think if you had to take a picture, copy and paste, it would look exactly like this. The attention to detail, I didn't even want to know how many blocks were involved in this. And this whole design was done by Fieldfair. It's the Steam username. I'm not 100% sure what their real name is, obviously, but as you can see, just stunning. And I mean, the one thing that is most notable on the Notre Dame is obviously that famous cross silhouette it's got from the top. And yes, it has it. It has that famous cross silhouette if you look down from the top. I mean, that right there is amazing. I could go around this creation all day just pointing out the small details, the small attention to detail that this person has gone through. You've got that big famous window that you can stare through. Now as you can see, it doesn't look like there's a window at the moment, but there is actually windows there. And as you could see, it showed off quite a bit of the inside, and we'll get to that now. Now once again, this is a vanilla creation. Not a single mod was used to build this beauty of a creation. Obviously, if you do have some mods, you could possibly make it a little nicer. I don't know, maybe add in some colored windows, paint out. Now the painting you could do at any stage, but I love that grey brick form that the person has gone for. It looks like they've built it on 3 layers. Why? No idea, but they did. Now I'm going to land this right here because I want to give you the pure scale of this. There's my little guy. I'm going to zoom out. It is fucking huge. I mean, I cannot believe that somebody has truly gone out of their way and created the Notre Dame. Oh my gosh. And I mean, that's my little guy right there. Just to give you an idea of the size of the pillar compared to the size of the door, compared to the whole fucking building. That is retarded, but impressive. So I'm going into the Notre Dame over here. Now obviously we've only got a little bit of natural light, and the rest of the light is done by these pillars that the creator has put in everywhere. Now the lights at any point can be changed of how effective they are and how much radius they've got. So for now I'm just going to turn on my lights, and what I love is how the creator has actually laid out these red tiles down the center to basically mimic having that beautiful red carpet that goes into the Notre Dame. And then if we get to this section over here, once again this could be classed up a little bit with some mods, but he's painted the chairs brown and he has stacked them in a awesome fashion, obviously all looking towards the altar in front. I mean, look at that. I mean, this is literally something that you can imagine being in the Notre Dame, standing up on the podium over here, looking out at all the people that have come to either for the sermon or just to come to enjoy the beauty of the Notre Dame itself. And you are standing over here looking out at everybody giving that sermon. I mean, this is the last thing that you would expect in space, and the last thing you'd expect anybody to be creating in a sandbox game about space. 10 out of 10. Did not expect. Massively impressed. But ladies and gentlemen, that is Space Engineers. Now obviously I am going to be doing about 3 to 4 creations on a regular basis, possibly not every single day. Obviously there are a couple other series that I'm also working on at the same time, but I will be doing these videos regularly, and it's obviously going to be a whole bunch of different people and the creations that they have come up with and how far you can take this game. We might later on possibly have a look at creations that are solely designed for in-atmosphere usage, or some of the designs that were created for planets and not for space. That is the extent that you can take this game. Literally, if there's a limit, congratulations, you found it, because to date, 400 plus hours into this game, I haven't found a limit. It is beautiful. There are mods to make the game 1,000 times better from what it is as it stands, and the possibilities are endless. Now, if you guys enjoyed this episode and this video, then by all means, let me know. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see all you beautiful people in my next video. But obviously, until then, cheers.